In a minute, you will see a lot of slides, but I think the most important thing would be the caption. And then I'll go to some of the very important or salient dimensions in the PowerPoint. So this is pretty comprehensive, and if participants would like to go in depth, please contact me. First of all, I think the title is very timely. New path beyond the new normal, and then from geopolitics to geoeconomics. We are all situated in different contexts, subject to a lot of influences, and we are also instilling a lot of influence into the whole system. So let me talk about the Greater Bay Area context. My title is the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area, what's in it for us? I know there are around 100 participants today, and a lot of them would be interested in listening to threats, opportunity, so on and so forth. What is GBA? GBA comprises 9 territories in the Guangdong area, in addition to Hong Kong and Macau. Basically, this is a directive all the way from the top, so it's political in a sense. It's the vice versa. It's not a lot of people in the market, they sense that there are opportunities, and then they gather together, finding a leader and then leading them. It's basically different places, people would have different motives, they're in different contexts, having different value, objective, strategy, and tactic, and oftentimes they would cancel each other, and they would not be able to generate new opportunities. So this is a directive, but that directive is not without support. This is an important document guiding the development of GPA, major 6 principles. Drive by innovation and led by reform. To me, I think it's led by reform, and then we see how this particular arrangement can lead to a lot of innovations. Coordinate development and plan holistically is a Chinese custom that we should look at the back first, the end first. It's a plan holistically and then coordinate development. But the thing is, even though it's planned holistically, we require very good coordination, and people should work wholeheartedly. First of all, from their own perspective, and then to a coalition perspective, and then to the nationwide perspective, and more importantly, in an international global perspective. Oftentimes we talk about green development, ecological, and all that. The key would be on win-win outcome. As oftentimes we will see people talking about the country first, and then when you are the first, and everybody would be working for you, and then they subside, and then they are subordinate, basically that would not be a good idea. It's not motivating all the resources in the whole world, and then the talents, the mind power to coming up with a better world. I think coming up with a better world would be a better definition of coalition. And then share between the benefits of development and improving people's livelihood. I think it's a more, I would say, not hidden, but very basic value behind all that. It's not local development. It's not local people's livelihood. It's the development and livelihood of at least 2 regions working together. And then the 11 regions working together. And then that 11 regions combining with the whole national direction, and then with the hope of realizing how we can create a better world. It's only under that sort of mentality that we can do a much better job. And then the interesting part is why Hong Kong and Macau, these 2 particular special economic zones are being included, is because the ultimate aim is one Belt, One Road, and then how that would bring into context linking the whole system with the whole outside world. And that's the ultimate meaning of the GPA initiative. Greater Bay Area, 71 million people, 56,000 kilometers square. In 2018, combined GDP 1.6 trillion, and then in 2030, the estimated GPA would reach 4.6 trillion. So, according to a book written by Jim Collins, it's too big to fall. How can you avoid your doing business, you're cooperating with such a big system? Of course, which Professor has just rightly mentioned, protection and all that. To us, I think it's the value first with professional advisors from like lawyers, accountant, and then we have to take care. But it's not taking care first and then do nothing. The Greater Bay Area concept explores synergy. That's the basic idea. Synergy between Hong Kong and the rest of the 10 regions, and then how the whole thing we integrate into the whole China context, the whole China context integrated into the world context. New economy coexists with a sound industries foundation. Previously, it's the region are kind of a combination of different regions having their own industry foundation. And now it's there a way for us to integrate all that and complying with the new and old economy, the technology, so to speak. Openness is the key. Another book written by a Greek author called Thomas Friedman, written in 2005, also mentioned about the Berlin Wall, as the world is flat. Water will flow from a height to a lower region, to a lower level. It's basically so difficult for you to control people having cooperation with others. So openness would be the virtue, openness would be the direction. But of course, in internationalizations, there are so many political stands, and then also a lot of concerns, and then of course, these are some of the hurdles we have to address. This is pretty tough, but never mind, just look at the basics. It's institutional diversity creates room for institutional innovation. So first of all, look at the sentence in the middle, GPA as international financial centers and shipping centers. I think the most important word would be highly market-oriented environment. Is to meet the needs and wants of tomorrow. Conceive of how to meet those needs and wants, putting that into a market system. But after that, we need manufacturing. So at the end of the day, even for 4P within marketing, we need the product. You need manufacturing. And then how to come up with a better product, better service is through technological innovation. But Hong Kong would play a very strong role as a financial center and also shipping center. So at the end, you just look at GPA and all those that access. Total area 5.65. Big means it's a big base. And then people 6,765,000. More people, that means a bigger market and also having a bigger talent pool. We are now for GDP is in the middle. So I'm a very optimistic person. When you're middle, there are potentials for you to grow and you are not too small. And then when you look at the GDP growth, it's 7.9%. That's something we can not neglect. And then even though we are now per capita GPA is 2.604, but there are a lot of rooms for us to grow. Especially when you look at the port throughput, it's 6,520. There's a big potential there. And then the share of service, 62.2. Compared to the rest, the service amounting to like 80 something. That would means a lot of rooms for people from afar, people in another economic system, coming and work together with GPA try to create something of value there. We need services like finance, like so to speak, and also technology. So the next one, even more complex, is just a graph mentioning the particulars of different regions. Pinpointing, first of all, Guangzhou, the capital, is a great transport hub. Shenzhen, famous for the city for innovation, for Macau, tourism and leisure center. Hong Kong is a big list, international financial center, transportation, trade center, aviation hub, managing industry. Just now, Doctor has mentioned something like the legal regime that's extremely important. When we separate all four, no power at all. So that's the old common saying, united we stand. Okay. And then the next one is talking about how different regions can be, would have their own particular advantages and how we combine the rest. I will skip this one. But if you need going to very detailed, please give me a call. I've just mentioned the whole initiative is also one of the national initiatives. It's called the Belt Road Initiative. When we combine Hong Kong and Macau with the 9 regions that form the origin, at least in the Hong Kong, in the Greater Bay Area context, another origin of the Belt Road Initiative. 5 characteristics is diversity, meaning opportunity. Manufacturing heavy industry structures, it was there. Different people are doing different things from a manufacturing heavy industry structure. But room for growth in infrastructural development, in the sense that the railroad, the train system, and then the 4th one is a challenge. Even though you mentioned 9+2, but division of work, who would be the leader, who would support who, that's the big story. But if that system is not in China, I don't think anybody can do something like this. You just look at the election system now in America, you know, it's so complicated. So hopefully we can come up with a good division of work. And innovation potential, there are a lot of R&Ds there. Hong Kong is very good in very advanced, very top level, but they are not very good putting that into practices. Hope that with the 9+2 concept, we can perform much better. Decoding in then 2022, 2035, and then it will go very deep and then go very, very wide. So I'll skip this one. The key points. The next dimensions would be advanced manufacturing industry. Is raising from the original structure, original situation to advanced manufacturing in order to compete in the global arena, in order to form coalitions with, say, for example, Australia, New Zealand. If we are not advanced enough, if we are not thinking about improvement, our potential would be hindered. And strategic emerging industry would be another dimension, like IT, biotech. Services needs to be modernized. So with the 9+2 particular initiative, we may be able to do something because of the synergistic combination. And marine economy might be another one. Strategic emerging industries, the pillar industries, like I just mentioned, IT, biotech. And then when I understand that 100 participants are there, with some very great scholars I'm partnering with, I think we can come up with very good things. The 5G, the 3D printing, robotic, healthcare, high-tech, services. According to my research, like at least for Australia, you are very good in finance, very good in like banking, so to speak. I might go to there in Q&A session. These are the situations in China at one moment in time. It's around 3 years ago. Technology and innovation, trade and logistics, financial services, real estates, and all that. So if you are in that industry, you have a lot of pioneer working in front of you. And then even though you are in education, retail, health, and all that, that means you have big potentials there. So Key points, financial market is another major dimension. If not, Hong Kong would not be included. So I'll just put it here. It's the traditional way how to develop financial industries. And these are the different dimensions. If you are in infrastructural financing, asset management, cross-border finance, fintech, insurance, banking, so on and so forth. And then GPA funding would be another dimension. Getting fund, IPOs, and all that. Another dimensions I might want to talk a little bit about is a quality production and living circle. So it's not just a place for business, it's a place for us to live in. Business-friendly environment and tourist-friendly. So there are so many dimensions we can approach. Coalitions between two different nations there would be a possible and a very, I would say, favorable outcome. Measures to promote development education. I'm in education, Selena is also in education, and then as far as education is concerned, there are so many ways that we can cooperate, like joining forces on academic programs, research, vocational training, and alliance of university, Hong Kong, Macau, Guangdong. If you can combine people, combine universities, like our MIT, like your Melbourne, so on and so forth, that will bring a lot of, I would say, benefits, not just to China, but also to the whole world. And hopefully that would also raise the profile of like universities in New Zealand and also in Australia. Basic education, forming of sister schools, and then hopefully equal access to education. Having Hong Kong as the middleman, we are basically good at both, but we just don't have the one context. Development talent pool, meaning the talent, the technical talent, international talent, which is so important. Not just technical, we need cooperations, we need joining force with people outside China, outside the GBA. Talents are so badly needed. Tourism is another dimension we might want to explore. GBA outlook, flow of various factors, including people. That is to say, in the Taoism system, is like water. Water will flow to a place whereby it can be beneficial to a lot of, like plants, people, so on and so forth. The world is flat, cooperations. But of course, professional, like the regime, like professional services, like the CPA, legal are so important. Alternative dispute resolutions, mediation, arbitrations are also needed. Regional coordination, and then industrial cooperation. IP is another dimension. If you are an IP lawyer, you will be working 24 hours if you are in GBA. You have a lot of work to do. Competitive neutrality, I think, is the mentality. In the last 30 seconds, I talked about why Hong Kong. Hong Kong, highly international business environment, capital free flow, trusted common law system. So when we are in the common law system, New Zealand, UK, Australia, we talk basically the same language, common law, and the rule of law, and robust technology, intellectual property regime. Use Hong Kong as a place to sign the contract with in disputes. That would be a trial in a Hong Kong court. That would be another example. Civil tax regime, free port, top-notch university, and then international financial center. There are, of course, a lot of top-notch universities both in Australia and New Zealand. But by joining force, I think we can go to new promised lands. Last one, financial services with one, international innovation, especially when China is such a big market. Legal services, I think we need to beef up there. And then convenient flow of goods services with the travel, with the transportation system, with the marine hub in Yantian, in Shenzhen, and also in Hong Kong. I think we can play a very big role. Promote Hong Kong big, hopefully, talent hub. Youth development would be another dimension that couldn't be overemphasized. And not the least, is the planet. We talk too much on profit, not too much on people, and very little about environment. Hope that would form another initiative in the GBA context. I think that's all I would like to share. I'm happy to take questions in the Q&A sessions. Thank you for your attention.